And it is on the owl, just letting you know.
Great.
All right, so Megan should jump here as soon as she can, so she said to start. All right, it is 9:30, so welcome everyone, and it is the April 3rd meeting of 2025 of the Sustainability Committee. Can I have a roll call, please?
Committee member Eric Freeman,
Here.
committee member Kristen Sutton here, and committee member Megan Harmon.
We do have a quorum. Item 2 is approval of minutes from previous meeting. Have you had a chance to look at them? Any
Yes.
questions, comments, changes?
I move to approve the minutes.
All right, I will second. I'll just open public comment for it. Not hearing public closed public comment. Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. General public comment for items not on the agenda but under purview. Everyone here is not public comment, so close public comments and pick it off to item 4.
Okay, so good morning. So in the past, you have asked us to bring forward information on programs generally related to sustainability. And we most recently presented Santa Barbara Clean Energy's suite of programs proposed for next year. And really wanted to broaden that scope because sustainability, as we have said before, is happening throughout this organization, not just in the sustainability department. And really truly amazing programs exist in various departments that are building community capacity to take action and support our climate goals and our climate action plan. So we wanted to bring that to you today. It is a really impressive list of programs. And as you can see from the staff representation in the room today, a lot is happening. So I think this is a really exciting thing for you to kind of get an overview on. There is no action today, though in the future, it might be nice to, in future years when we bring this to you, to get some input on things that you would like to see in addition, or even metrics that you would like to see related to these programs. So today is really a foundational launch of this annual report. And with that, I believe library's up first. Yep.
Hi friends, my name is Paige Sundstrom. I'm the adult programming librarian at SBPL. So I'm planning to talk to y'all today about the sustainability grant programming that we have been putting on for the last 2 years. The program series we've been calling Sustainably SBPL. It's the Sustainable California Libraries Grant funded by California State Library. And the goal of this grant is to fund programs, educational initiatives, lectures, etc., that promote sustainable lifestyles for communities. You can go to the next slide. So like I said, we're in our 2nd year, so I just wanted to briefly share some of the programs that we were able to do in 2023 and 2024. And some background too about adult programming at the library. I started at the library in February of 2023, and at that point, there had not been somebody in this position for a few years, so there had not been a lot of consistent adult focused programming aside from our yearly SB Reach program and Trail Talks, for example. So when we were kind of developing what programming we might do in regard to this grant, we had a lot of questions about what kinds of topics or hands-on experiences or educational topics that folks were interested in learning about or doing. And so this grant series in 2023 and 24 was a lot of that information gathering. So we did a lot of all types of programs, programming with, partnering with a lot of different folks in the community, but with a focus on gardening, reuse of like clothing items, mending and sewing, cooking classes. We did our first Fix It Fair at the Eastside Library last May. We started our first library run community garden plot at the Anacapa Community Garden and did weekly team volunteer gardening. Had a cooking series with Rooted SB, had some folks from the Master Gardeners program teach a couple of classes. From that and from overwhelmingly from the survey responses that we received, we learned that folks are interested in everything. They're interested in learning how to garden and start their own garden plot and be able to mend their own clothes, learn how to use sewing machines, learn how to sew. These were a lot of skills that were not passed down to them from family members, and they wanted to learn them for themselves and also be able to teach them to their kids in their community. And so that was like really enlightening for us to see sort of like what areas of programming that folks were really interested in delving more into. But also just wrapped around like those individual topics was overwhelmingly folks said that they wanted to learn how to do these skills in community with each other. They really liked attending classes that were hands-on, where they could share their skills with each other. Like we had a series of sewing classes with the Crafters Library. There were folks who had never threaded a needle before, never sewn a button before. Or there's a mom who came to that class whose kid was 7 and really wanted to learn how to sew. There were no sewing classes for 7-year-olds, so the mom went so she could learn how to at least begin sewing, so she could teach her kid how to sew. And there was like constant like information sharing just amongst the folks who came to those programs too. That was really awesome to see as well. We're also really lucky as a library staff that our staff members are like, they are librarians, but also have skills and expertise in a wide variety of areas. We have somebody on our grant team whose former career path was garden education. So she has been leading our community garden plot growth. She knows what seeds to buy, what to plant, where to plant them. She's also our team librarian, so has been leading the team volunteer time and helping like grow those skills within teams as well, and library staff who are interested in learning these skills as well. Go to the next slide. And these are all of the partners that we work with in 2023. So some that I already mentioned, but others. For the Fix It Fair, we offered, it was a volunteer run Fix It clinic sort of program where anybody could come with a bike or item of clothing that they needed fixed or mended in some way. And so we had volunteers from BC Centro, Pro, and AS Bikes that assessed folks' bikes, fixed them up. I think we fixed about 30 bikes that day in a 2-hour program. And then we also had over 20 sewing volunteers from the community who brought their sewing machines and other sewing related materials, and folks brought things from like pajama pants, like a leather jacket, backpack, and other just clothing items, and sat with the folks the sewing volunteers, and showed them how they fix their item. We did that at the Eastside Library, and we're excited this year we get to do it on the plaza and expand a little bit more of the types of fixing that we're able to offer to folks. But something I really love about being in this position as a programming librarian is the relationship building that I get to do with so many folks around town, and especially with this grant and the funding that we had, that meant that we could work with even more partners we hadn't worked with before, offer not just like the very least amount of programming, but like we have this money that we can fund. Let's like do something special or new that either those partners had heard their attendees interested in, or we had heard they were interested in. So moving to 2024, we were hoping to build on what we had learned from that first year grant cycle, which is that folks were really into sewing and mending skills, or building their sewing and mending skills. And then also garden education for youth, and just other like being in community with each other. So we're doing this Saturday introduction to forest bathing program with Tamara Murray. She's a certified nature therapist and takes folks out every month to different parks and outdoor locations around town, and we have practiced mindfulness exercises. I'm stoked to get paid to touch grass on Saturday and hug a tree. And just being community. We have 20 folks that are signed up that are, I don't know if any of them have done forest bathing before. But Tamara is somebody I met through the Women's Economic Ventures program. She was a student in that program, and I taught a database class 1 month, and we connected, and I learned about her business. And so we're excited to partner up that way. But otherwise, yeah, so this year we're something also that we learned from last year is because we did so many different types of programs, kind of like one time each, and what a lot of folks were expressing was that, you know, okay, I learned the basics of like sewing a button or threading a needle, like now I want like a consistent class or consistent like space to meet to like continue growing that skill with an instructor or with just other folks. So this year, our sewing and mending series, we partnered with Explore Ecology and their makerspace. Madison is their makerspace coordinator, and she already runs a monthly sewing and mending club once a month with these really rad sewing volunteers. And so we added a day to their calendar to a program that they're already doing that they like consistently receive attendees, but this one is free. We're able to do it for 5 months instead of just once. Our hope too is that, you know, because that program at Explore Ecology is something that is already in the works, is already successful, but potentially isn't something that folks have already tried before or attended before, that through attending a free library program that they would continue attending the Explore Ecology's monthly program as well. And then I think I'm good. I can go to the next one. I just wanted to talk to you guys about some of our upcoming programs. So we're talking about the Fix It Fair. We're doing that again in May on the library's plaza. This year we're hoping to offer more than clothing and bike repair. We currently have a call for volunteers out, so if also any of you are skilled in jewelry repair, electronic repair, furniture repair, you can fix a watch. Somebody asked if we know people who fix Game Boys. Let us know. It's a totally volunteer run event. We'll have a table for you. We'll ask you what supplies you have and what supplies you need. And it's a first come, first serve bilingual event. We'll be working with the same bike repair folks that we did last year. And we're expanding a little bit more where we're going to have a plant swap with Idle Mercantile that day, and then also a natural dye bath with Explore Ecology and Sunkissed Pantry. The refill shop on Cannon Perdido is going to, she's going to be bringing some of her sample bulk items for folks to not only learn about her business, but also to learn about purchasing items like that in bulk. And then we also just had our first screening for our climate justice film series last Thursday. This is a program that's open to teens and adults. Our next one is on April 24th, and we'll be showing Sustainable, which is a documentary focused on a farmer in Chicago who basically started like the sustainable farming movement in Chicago. And then there's a third one in May. And then we're doing a cooking class again with Rooted Santa Barbara. Last year's program, we had like a one-time cooking class program. And again, folks were really interested in like a series of programs with these folks. So we talked to them to co-design a program that is over the month of June. This one is an English interactive cooking program, but we'll be doing a similar series in Spanish in September during Hispanic Heritage Month as well. Unless anybody has questions, that's what I've got for y'all.
Would you like to do questions between each section or wait till the end?
Let's do it each section because it makes more sense to, since they're up here. And then they're fresh in our head. It's gonna be a lot of information, so.
Oh, there's one more slide though.
Oh,
Oh, I forgot. How could I forget? I also wanted to talk to you guys about our Library of Things collection. If you're not aware, we circulate more than just books, DVDs, and magazines. We also have many things in our collection that we circulate to folks. Literally like so many different formats of things. Most recently, we added ice skating passes from Ice in Paradise in Goleta, and passes to the Santa Barbara Museum of Art. Those community passes check out usually for a week, and they're usually family passes, so one pass gets at least like 2 adults and kids in. We also circulate musical instruments like guitars and ukuleles, we have a banjo. And we have some items in our collection that were through like former grant funding. So like we have a series of adventure packs. Those include like hiking packs, for example. We circulate some sewing machines. It's all across the board, always adding things too. We are, me and another librarian, also in collaboration with the Sustainability and Resilience department, are working on a pilot to introduce a tool library collection to our Library of Things collection. As you might imagine, cataloging and circulating a hammer is different than circulating a book. So they're, and literally for all of these things too, honestly. So every like new item we add creates like a new workflow and new like cataloging structure for our staff as well. So it's a lot of problem solving that goes into it, but we're excited to see the tools.
any questions?
There's comments,
Yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah, comments too.
Yeah.
Questions and comments, we'll just do for each one. Yeah, it's great.
Can we do a comment?
Yeah.
Oh, this is amazing, and especially the community building and how relevant it is and changing all the time and making the library a place to learn all types of things. So, and all with sustainability in there, this is just above and beyond. It's really amazing. Yeah.
Just a question, is all this state and local funded, or is a lot of this funding that we get for these programs coming from the federal government?
This, the funding for all of the sustainability focused are from the Sustainable California Libraries grant. So they're all being funded by California State Library.
So the federal right now wouldn't necessarily impact this to, as other departments it might. Okay. Great answer. All right, any other questions, comments? All right, thank you for the presentation and all that you're doing. Who's up next?
Good morning, I'm Dakota Corey. I'm the Water Supply and Services Manager. I'm going to talk to you today about our water conservation programming. So the water conservation program is located in the Water Resources Division in Public Works. And we have a long-standing history of active water conservation in the city, with some impressive results that I'm going to show you as we continue to work through the presentation. Slide. Our water conservation program is strategically planned, so we do have a water conservation strategic plan. We're actually just undertaking updating it again currently. It gets updated about every 5 years, basically depending on programs changing and legislative changes that drive the need to evaluate our mix of conservation programs. It's based on a technical model that looks at the residential and commercial end uses of water. And we use a cost benefit analysis to make sure that our programs are cost effective when compared to going out and trying to purchase the next new unit of water. So when we look at our water portfolio as a whole, conservation, we consider it one of those supplies, and we can measure its cost effectiveness against those other supplies. And this is the results of those efforts. This is a favorite graph in our hearing, so let me just walk you through it. There's a lot going on here. You can see on the x-axis, the blue bars represent precipitation all the way back to 1899. The yellow shaded areas are periods of drought within that precipitation record. And so you can see that in California, as we all know, we have a very flashy system. Sometimes it's very dry, sometimes it's very wet, and it's never predictable. And then if you look at the blue line that runs diagonally across the graph, that's our population again, back to 1899 through 2024. And so you can see we've had a steady population increase until about the early 2000s, where it really starts to level out. So the city of Santa Barbara is considered mostly built out. We don't have a lot of new lots to develop, as you know. And so population growth is leveled off as we're looking more at like infill in terms of new housing. Now, this is where it gets really exciting in our opinion. If you look at the green line here, this is water production, again, all the way back to 1899. And you can see for a long time, until at least like the late 60s, it ran almost in parallel with population. So as population increased, water use increased. And then in, again, the late 60s, early 70s, it started to level off. You see this like precipitous drop here in the early 90s. That was our last major drought. And so our customers have always been very responsive when we ask them to conserve or cut back. They're very good at doing that. And then what happens naturally is as we come out of the drought, you see a rebound. But you'll notice that it never went back up to the height that it was before. It leveled off again. So that was kind of our new normal water use. And then this is the most recent drought. Again, you see that precipitous drop in like 2015, 2016. And we're still kind of figuring out where our new normal is going to be post that drought. But you can see that again, we've really like reduced our water use. And the big takeaway here is that our water use currently is the same as it was in the 1950s, even though population has more than doubled since that time. So a huge effort in our community to really use our water resources efficiently. Next slide. And this slide is just for a little bit of context. Who are we developing these programs for? So about 72%, I believe, 75%-ish of our customers are residential customers. So the majority of our customers that we develop our programs for are residential, but we do have conservation programs and incentives for every type of customer in the city. Next slide. So let's dive into some of the programs that we offer. This list here, we consider kind of our foundational programs or our utility specific. It's kind of how do we run our operations to provide, you know, sort of baked in water conservation in the community. So we do have an active water waste prevention program, meaning if you're out walking your dog and you see that somebody's sprinkler's busted and it's all flowing down the street, you can report that. And we'll make contact with that customer and let them know that they have something they need to fix. We also have water efficient landscape standards for new development projects. And so there is a statewide what do they call it? Model water landscape ordinance, which is requirements for new landscape in California. Ours is more stringent than the state. So this basically shows people when they put in a new project or if they have a significant remodel on their property, what they need to do to make sure that their landscaping is efficient in that project. And then just a year ago, we implemented our automated metering infrastructure project, which I'm going to dive into in more detail in the next slides. So this is a graphic that shows how AMI works. Basically, you have your water meter over here in the lower left corner, and that's attached to an MTU. An MTU is essentially like it sends out signals to a DCU, which is here on the light post, which receives those signals. And what it does is it allows us to collect and then distribute to our customers hourly water use data. So prior to AMI, we had meter readers that would walk around the city and they would take a read on somebody's meter once a month. And then it would take close to a month for that to be turned into a bill and mailed out to the customer. And so if I'm a customer and I had a leak, I might not know that that leak existed for a good month and a half, 2 months when I get that feedback on my bill. And so with this, we can provide not exactly real time, but very close to real time data to our customers, which really helps them actively manage their own water use. And then also all of this data comes into the city so we can keep an eye on things and we can alert customers if we're noticing that they've got either high consumption or a leak. Next slide. This is what the customer side of AMI looks like. So we have the WaterSmart customer portal, and any city water customer can set up an account in WaterSmart. And then they get access to all of their water use data. And so this graphic here on the left shows what that data looks like. The blue would be kind of the normal usage patterns, and there is like a machine learning or AI component to this. And so as more data comes in, the application can start to understand like, oh, this is like when you shower and you run your sprinklers on Monday, Wednesday, Friday for this period of time. So it can start to see those patterns and realize what's normal. And then the orange here in this example is a possible leak because that's continuous usage. So meaning it's the same volume that's continually running through the meter and it doesn't match that normal usage pattern. And so through that, you can set up leak thresholds and leak notifications that can either text message or email the customers and let them know that they have an issue. So instead of having that like 2-month lag, now they're getting it, 24 hours, a notification in their pocket that they can go and figure out what's going on with their property. And if they're having a hard time figuring it out, they can give us a call and we can walk them through troubleshooting that. It's often a leaky toilet. They might not, know how to figure that out, or they might not hear it. And we can help them figure that out. So, this has been a huge success for our program, and this is why we're, doing a new update to our water conservation strategic plan, because it's really like restructured everything about our conservation program as this new foundational tool. Since we went live last year on March 11th, 51% of all of our customers have registered for Water Smart, which if you look at registration rates across the country is phenomenal. Our goal was 10% when we launched, and we hit that goal in like the first week. So we're like, okay, let's shoot for 20. And now we're at over 50%. So it's been really foundational for our program.
And I can attest.
In addition to AMI and some of those foundational programs I described earlier, we also offer rebates, and the rebates are meant to incentivize either changes in behavior or changes in different products that you use to make your often landscape, but also we have high efficiency washing machines on there, more water efficient. And so the city contributes a certain dollar amount that comes back to the customer to help them offset the cost of installing and purchasing these different items that help them be more efficient. And you'll notice at the bottom of this list, there's also the commercial survey and incentive program. So this is one of the programs that we offer to our businesses in the community. We can come out and do an audit of their business, whatever it is, and how they might use water, and make recommendations to improve the efficiency in their business. So it might be something like cooling tower cycles, or it might be spray nozzles in the dish room, that type of thing. Next slide. We also offer a robust youth education program that includes in-class presentations, musical assemblies, field trips. We do in partnership with the rest of the water agencies in the county, we do an annual WaterWise High School video contest where the students produce a video and then they're judged, there's winners, and they go on public TV, but the messaging is how to use water more efficiently. And similarly, across the county, we participate in a WaterWise Science Fair award. So it's the countywide science fair, and then we have a specific award in that fair related to being water efficient. Next slide. We also offer education programming for our adult community members. We have a Green Gardener certification program. So this is for gardeners that work within the city, helping them help their customers manage their water use. And that is a bilingual class and certification. And then they can be they're listed on our website if they've completed the class of being Green Gardener certified. We also have the GardenWise TV show, which provides a lot of tips to make your landscape more efficient. And again, we participate countywide in the regional program to do messaging regarding water efficiency. Next slide. We offer a lot of online resources. Our website is also very robust. I've already talked about Water Smart, which was the AMI customer portal. We have lots of DIY videos, mostly focused on landscape. So one of the things that we figured out in our conservation strategic plan is in that first drought where we saw that big precipitous drop, we really tackled the indoor water usage, so that was a lot of like high efficiency toilets and, you know, shower heads. And then also since then, the plumbing code has gotten more restrictive, so indoor usage isn't really the place where we're gonna see a lot of savings anymore with our residential customers. It's almost all landscape. And so a lot of our efforts are focused on the landscape. We have an amazing Waterwise Garden database. If you're a plant geek at all, like you can spend hours. You can search it based on soil type, like if you want like a shrub that's 3 feet tall that has yellow flowers in the spring, you can put all those parameters in and it will give you a list of potential things that you could put in your yard and the water usage associated with that. And it features all water-wise plants. And then there's also lots of examples. So you can see here, there's front yards, backyards, hillsides, lawn alternatives. So you can get ideas and get inspiration from that website. And then we also offer a watering calculator. So we, the city sponsors a local CIMA station, which collects atmospheric data and can tell us like what the evaporation has been. And so if you think about, let's just say a lawn, even though we don't want you to have those. As the weather changes, the evaporation from that lawn removes moisture from your soil, and the goal to water that efficiently would just to be to replace what's evaporated. So the CIMA station provides that data, and then the watering calculator helps people figure out how much water they should be applying to their landscape or their lawn. Next slide. So this is just a summary of some of the participation we've had in our programs over the last 10 years. We have issued 1,368 landscape rebates for water-wise landscaping. We have issued 2,529 mulch delivery rebates. And mulch helps reduce evaporation keeps water in the landscape. We've reached 23,350 youth through our different water education programs, and we've had over 400,000 hits on our videos and educational information. And then we have a special call out for our AMI participation, since that was only initiated a year ago. But since then, we've had over 15,758 portal registrations. So those are the people that have actively signed up to use the portal. And then we've issued 23,643 leak alerts. And kind of another piece of this, we have a program in partnership with utility billing, especially thinking about how things worked in the past. You get that big bill where you've had a leak for 2 months and you didn't know about it. We have a leak relief program where customers could call utility billing, say, found my leak, fixed it, here's proof, here's the receipts. Can I get some credit on my bill? And since we've implemented WaterSmart, we've seen both the number of people who apply for leak relief reduced by about half. And we've seen the ask for the money that they're asking for credit for also reduced by half. So we really are getting out ahead of these leaks and getting them fixed quickly. And our customers are being really proactive in that usage, which is awesome too for us as a city, because you know, we're not holding their hand so much, like they're doing it themselves, which is really cool. And I believe that is that. And if you want further information, here's how to find us.
Great. Questions, comments?
Full comment, I'll reiterate, the AMI program is amazing, and I think not just for myself, we've gotten the alert and then we're able to change the thing, but I hear from a lot of residents on the hillsides who, you know, those pipes leak, or they, you know, previously they wouldn't know it for months, and to be able to see the numbers of how many people have been alerted, it's really amazing, so, and all the other programs too. Thank
Awesome,
you.
yeah, thank you.
So impressive.
I have just a couple of questions for HOAs. So we're, I live in a single meter and there's a bunch of units in there. So would the property manager would have the water account, so the property manager would need to set that up. Right?
Yeah,
And then that would be good. So any like a board member and we can access it that way, but then you can set it up on your own.
yeah, you'd have to have the person that has, that is the account holder set it up, but then you could have a login that.
So anybody can use the login.
Yeah, exactly.
And
And
then,
we also, like, for example, the school district, if you have multiple accounts, so maybe your property manager has other facilities in the city, They can consolidate the accounts, so it's like one login for each of the accounts, and if they need help doing that, like we've helped the school district and various city accounts. Consolidate all that, so it's easier to manage and just call and we can help.
And is there a difference between just normal house potable water versus irrigation? Because there's usage, or is that all part of the same account? If you have like irrigation meter versus a regular meter?
So if you have an irrigation meter, a dedicated irrigation meter, that's a separate account and it would have its own reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm on my HOA board among other things, so I'm trying to get some intel here so we can, and we have old pipes like everybody. The other thing, just the comment I have is the slide that shows the water usage. That is my favorite slide, because a lot of times we get people emailing us every time there's a new housing project.
Yeah.
And so that, how can you add more water? And so I say, we've actually used the same amount of water since in the 1950s with double the population. Don't take my word for it. Here's the link and here's the receipt to the annual water report. And some of them have written back and I had no idea. And thanks for giving me actual information. So it actually calms people down,
Yeah.
because they see that we're using actually less water, I think, than we did even 30 years ago.
Yeah, and specifically because the type of housing that is going into Santa Barbara now, because it's already mostly built out, it's so efficient, because one, it's multifamily, so there's very little landscape, and again, landscape is the biggest sink of your water usage. And then the fixtures that are being applied in these houses are extremely efficient as well, so really like sort of the per person, amount of water used in this new development is very low.
It's like we've had this conversation before. Believe me, I've repeated it many times, and I even add that part to it, and then they kind of are dumbfounded because they just think it's like every one of a single family home, but. All right, thank you, and thanks for all the work and the update on that, so we will move on to the next up is clean community programs.
Hi, I'm Hillary Allen. I'm an environmental specialist with the Clean Community Division. Clean Community does really incredible work, upkeeping and maintaining our programs behind the scenes, for making sure community members are subscribed to the trash service, maintaining our fleet of public containers, which contains over 2,000 containers, keeping businesses in compliance with state and local laws, which includes organics compliance, offering kitchen trainings in English and Spanish, and other such services. Basically, if you don't see us, we're doing our job. So we're gonna highlight a couple of programs that we've been doing and then a couple of the things that we're doing this year. Next slide. So first, this is a new program this year, textile recycling. So Californians throw away approximately 1.2 million tons of textiles each year. And textiles are the fastest growing component of California landfills. So this year, Clean Community partnered with local jurisdictions and with a hauler to develop a regional textile diversion program. Finding a stable textile vendor has been very problematic in the past. Our goal was to create a textile program that handles the waste stream in a responsible manner by keeping as much textiles out of landfills as possible. We partnered with Homeboy Threads, which is part of Homeboy Industries, and we chose them because of their transparency, their location. They do most of their work in LA, and that's actually quite close for a textile vendor, and their role in the community as a social enterprise. So the goal is to have multiple textile drop-offs. In the region right now, we only have one, but we want to make sure we do this correctly. So this is one of our new programs this year, is our textile drop-off. Next slide. We also conduct monthly neighborhood cleanups. We've picked up approximately 300 bags of trash in these neighborhoods each year. But these monthly cleanups are more than just cleanups. Cleanup locations are chosen using SB Connect data, neighborhood improvement task force information, community member complaints, and hotspot data. We want to make sure that we clean parts of town that are forgotten or maybe under-resourced. We want people to see that we are responsive when we hear them tell us that there's an issue. We engage with the neighbors who then clean their own neighborhood, and therefore we share ownership of the area. We also learn a lot from the neighbors about neighborhood issues. For example, if there are tree bulb outs and the street sweeper may not go by that area, there may be some illegal parking issues. near City College, there's some parking density issues and things like that. So having a city employee on hand to witness these issues and then have open discussions with the community members. And then we're able to take those complaints and information back to our team and see if we can make some real-time adjustments or changes and help solve these problems. So it has helped us to be nimble and to address real problems that are brought to us by our community members. Next slide. We are also one of our new programs that we're gonna be doing this year is we have a reusable cup pilot. One of the areas we felt like we could make some good moves is at coffee shops because single-use coffee cups are the norm. That is, a very cultural thing. So we partnered with Dune Coffee, who's a local vendor, to create a pilot program to challenge customers to make different choices when they're buying their coffee. So for summer 2025, we're going to increase the bring your own personal cup or the for here cup discount at Dune Coffee locations. This is to make the for here cup more attractive. We're also working with Dune to have these reusable clay cups available for purchase. So these are reusable, but if they do get thrown away, they're just made of terracotta. I'm gonna pass it around. So they're, in our landfill. And so they're gonna be offering those for sale at June. And so we're gonna promote this pilot at Earth Day. And we're gonna have outreach materials available, data available that explains why choosing a reusable cup is better. And as a segue into our next slide, we will also be giving out a Dune gift card to anyone who participates in hosting one of community garage sale as a way to encourage this program and to support our local market. So this summer on May 10th, we're going to be hosting a community yard sale. This is our first annual community yard sale. We're inviting community members to host their own yard sale in their yards. This event is designed to encourage reuse, to build community, and to support the city's zero waste goals by keeping reusable items out of the landfill. Anyone interested in hosting their own yard sale on that date can sign up online. And a week before the event, we will distribute yard signs. We're going to make magnets that have local waste facilities and thrift store options on it so people know where to take items. We're going to be designing an interactive map depicting all of the addresses hosting the sales. And we'll be promoting and advertising this event also at Earth Day. Clean Community will be sharing information about local thrift stores and locations where reusable items can be dropped off rather than thrown away.
And it's important to know we already have almost 60 people
We
signed
have
up.
almost 60 people signed up and it's really all across the city too. I mean, it isn't just pockets. It's like the entire city has areas where people are going to be having yard sales. So it's really exciting. Excellent. And this is going to bring us back to our regular schedule of upkeep and maintenance of our programs. I just wanted to remind you of some of the programs that we offer our community members. There's these additional services for waste management. For example, there's a lot of items that are not accepted in what we call our municipal solid waste, which is just your trash, recycling, or green waste at home. So we have many, many options for your odd items. From special events where you can take things like e-waste, hazardous waste, chemicals and things like that. So we have events for that, but we also have year-round locations in numerous spots around town where people can take these items, these odd items. This is things such as light bulbs, small appliances, paint, batteries, and things like that. There's also drop-off locations for items like styrofoam, medicine, and even ammunition. Citizens can send in for mail-in sharps containers. Those are free. And also another change that we have made to our program is that there are 4 times a year bulky item pickups, but these are now available to all residents. It used to be that it was just if you maintained your own utility bill, you were the only one who could call in one of these bulky item pickups. But the problem is we have many folks in apartment buildings, and they're often the folks who have challenges of getting rid of these items. So now any resident, they do not have to maintain their own bill, can call in to Marburg 4 times a year to have these bulky items picked up. So hopefully this will positively impact our illegal dumping. And that should, combat illegal dumping in neighborhoods. So these are some of the great sort of year-round resources that we offer to the citizens for getting rid of any of their odd waste. Do you guys have any questions?
Questions, comments?
I have a question. Is it a new name, Clean Community Programs, or is that
It is a
always
new
been-
name.
Yeah,
Yeah, we switched from trash and recycling to.
excellent change, I think, and especially with all of the community building, and I particularly like the things you're mentioning about these opportunities to learn from community members, what's happening in their local communities, and then obviously expanding all of these services, but
It really does help us again be very nimble with helping these community complaints and having them see us do.
Mhm. And then with this new name, is it also is like all of the trash contracts or services still under?
Yeah, not, it just the
Yeah.
name change.
Yeah.
So all of our services were there.
It's a great
Councilmember
name.
Sneddon, it's really related to the growth of the Clean SD program related to encampments and abandoned waste. That are,
Okay.
it became such a big piece of this division's work that we wanted to further encompass it in the name.
It's a great name, and the textile recycling.
Very exciting.
Very
Been a
exciting.
Difficult material.
I
We
have
feel
bins and bins. that have been
excited that
waiting.
this is gonna maybe be the one that's gonna.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna specifically call that out as well. I had no idea that we were doing, I mean, it's like so awesome. It's so, I'm just thinking about our own lives, like there are so many things every week that I can't pass on to someone else because they're too gross, but don't know what to do with, so just sit in trash bags and like tiny.
Well, and we went down and we toured their facility. They, you know, they really do amazing work.
I mean, this is so cool. This is gonna change a lot of parents'
Yes.
lives,
Right,
and
absolutely.
definitely our storage opportunities. So I know so many people that are gonna be so excited.
Well,
about
right
this.
now, the David Love location, 20 David Love,
Where is
it's in Goleta.
By there.
It's by the airport,
okay.
but we are gonna be expanding. The reason why is textiles cannot get damp or they have to be thrown away, so they have to be dry stored. So right now, we're starting really small with just one location.
Yeah.
And then
I'll
as
drive
we
to the
sort of
airport
work
to
out
do
the
this.
kinks
No
with
big
that,
deal, yeah.
we're gonna be expanding it to multiple locations. so
Really
it's more
cool.
convenient for everyone.
Really awesome. And also specifically, thank you for the change to allow anyone to do a bulky item pickup. That's hugely important. And I know a couple years ago, we had this conversation and it's been a sort of bane of my existence for a long time. So I love that change.
Well, definitely serves the
Yeah,
community better.
that's great. Thank you.
Was that part of the new contract
Mhm.
that we
So
did, that we
changed
approved
yeah,
with the
yeah.
Marburg?
Yes.
Perfect. Pays to plan ahead for that. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the presentation, all the great work. So next up is Sustainability Creeks programs.
Hi, I'm Erin Markey, manager of the Creeks Division, and I'm gonna talk to you about our community programs, which all, focus on our main goals of water quality improvement and creek restoration, as well as engaging, informing the community about these efforts. Next slide. So I'm gonna start off with our newest program. We just launched our Sustainable Stormwater Rebate Program. We're super excited about this opportunity to promote, voluntary stormwater improvements, to really have more stormwater or rainwater collected and retained on site, essentially. Building community resiliency from drought and flood, but also improving water quality. So we have just launched it, as I mentioned. I want to give a shout out actually to Madeline Wood over in Water Resources, because we really modeled it after their existing landscape rebate program, and she was really instrumental in getting this launched more quickly and sharing what they're doing and what works, so that we could kind of model our program after that. We're currently offering incentives for what we call disconnected downspouts, or essentially where someone has an existing roof downspout that's piped to the curb and gutter. If they disconnect that and redirect that water roof runoff to their landscaping. We also are offering incentives for rain barrels, rain gardens, so shallow landscape depressions that again capture that rainwater and infiltrate it into the soil on site. And then removal of hardscape or pavement. And so we launched just a few weeks ago. We've already had 15 applications. We actually already have one completed project. Somebody just jumped on it and got their rain barrels installed and is already seeking reimbursement. So we're really excited, and we hope the program is just going to continue to grow over time. Next slide. Oh, I will also say these, those rebates are stackable, essentially combinable with water conservation landscape rebates. We've kind of coordinated our applications to ask if people are also interested in those. So as applications come in, we can kind of coordinate the two together, so applicants aren't like talking to two different people. We can kind of try to keep it as simple as possible for them. And then our Creek Tree program, this has been around for a very long time. This is an opportunity to provide, again, incentives to property owners to plant native riparian trees on their creekside property. It kind of ebbs and flow in interest over time, I guess, but we've had lots of projects done. And it's definitely an opportunity we see to kind of further promote the program. It's not heavily promoted right now. So we hope to kind of increase that in the future and have more projects coming in. But we provide up to $1,000 upfront to property owners on a reimbursable basis, up to $5,000 if they contribute 25% match for that other $4,000. So basically, and it funds, the purchase of trees, the contractor install of those trees, irrigation, and even we've done non-native plant removal to kind of prep the site for the planting of those trees. Next slide. We also get the community heavily involved in community volunteer events. So these can be restoration focused, planting trees, non-native removal, but also creek and beach cleanup events. Just a great opportunity to just get community stakeholders involved in what matters to us and understand why it's important, and also just kind of take ownership of these places in our community. So these are just some of the recent groups we volunteered with, as well as our partners for Adopt a Beach programs. And then next slide. Creek Week is a very large county-wide event, but the Creeks Division every year hosts a number of events. These are just some of the examples of events we hosted last year. Shout out to our community engagement team in our department, who is hugely instrumental in even making this county-wide event happen as one of the main municipal partners in the county. It's a big undertaking, but it's just a great event. Every year we kind of get to add new things. This year we added our Urban Creek Trails tour, which was, you'll see on the next slide, very well attended, and we're really excited about that new program. This year's Creek Week, which will be September 20th through 27th, we're hoping to focus on steelhead, like have a focus on a specific topic this year. So we're really excited about that. So yes, our Urban Creek Trails, this is another new program. So as I mentioned, we launched our first map or route as part of Creek Week, the Lower Mission Creek route. So we have these amazing rock cards. Again, shout out to our community engagement division for making these look so pretty. But basically it's an urban walking trail to connect people to our creeks and all the amazing resources we provide, projects we've done. So there's rock card versions which have some information, but there's also an online web-based map version that has links to all sorts of information, little videos, different project pages. And so each stop has different kind of educational information. Even we have some citizen science where people can do some citizen science and input information. And so this was the tour we hosted as part of Creek Week. It was super well attended. So our goal is, as we launch each of these maps, to do additional community tours. And then over time, once we have enough maps, have like quarterly or monthly walks of each of these Urban Creek Trails. And so we've launched the Lower Mission Creek one. The next one's going to be like kind of Middle Mission Creek. We're still working on the exact name there. And then we hope to eventually spread them to all of our creeks and across the city. Next slide. And then our Clean Water Business Program. This is also a program we've had for a pretty long time. It is allows us to kind of get voluntary compliance from businesses in town as far as illicit discharges. So it's an educational opportunity to meet with businesses and tell them about the best practices they can be using to keep polluted runoff on site and direct it to sewer instead of the street and storm drains. But we also have a assistance program where we can actually help fund them getting whatever materials or resources they need. Things like wetbacks and burn containment things and things that they need to be able to do the right thing. So it's been a really successful program. I think we have, over 170 businesses currently enrolled, and a number of businesses that have seeked out that additional assistance. I think that's it.
All right, questions, comments?
Well, I mean, again, amazing. The Urban Creek Trail walk was fantastic. Like there were parts of that creek in the interface with the urban environment that I was not at all aware of, and it was so well attended. Really excited about the other portions too, and that people can do it self-guided also with the QR codes and all of that. So I think it's really great connecting people who live like right there who might not be aware of all of the interactions. And I have a question about the Creek Tree Program. Was there something with the Botanic Garden and native trees? Were they doing some kind of incentive also?
I think that's gonna be coming up with our energy and climate division,
okay.
so you'll hear more about that, but yes.
And where is this location?
I'm not sure, I think the Sycamore is in Oak Park, I'm not sure where this photo was, but I found it in our files. This example
Very
of native
nice,
trees,
yeah.
so it named Sycamore and our coastline oaks.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of this program, so I think this is also, I mean, I guess it's been around for a while, but seems really great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just a quick question on the maps on slide 37. Where do you, I know there's a QR code, but if you don't know where to look for it, how do you find it?
So we have information on our website about it. So there's actually a number of spots where we have existing interpretive signs kind of, and we're adding QR stickers to them so people could scan it and then it would take them to the map and then they could start the trail wherever
Or
they
out in the
are.
public?
Yeah, we have like, there's restoration projects kind of at the mouth of Mission Creek down at the estuary. And there's a number of existing kind of interpretive signs about the estuary, about dune restoration. And so on those signs, there's a QR code that's.
So they're in the website. It might be good to add to
We-
SB Connect.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we also have plans to add to all trails and work with Visit Santa Barbara to
Working on
include.
that right now.
The SB Connect, a lot of people go into that. So if there's like something where we have a community app where it might be something we want to look at that people can say things to do in the community, and then you could just
Good idea.
automatically have it on there, or
Yeah.
some way to use that app more, because that's where a lot of people are going. And not just for this, but for other things.
Yeah, we're really excited about their details. I'll say it kind of stemmed from going back and looking at some of the documents that came out in community meetings when the Creek Subversion was first founded. It was like one of the things that was talked about was we need to have community creek trails. And it's really difficult in some of these situations when we have development all the way up to the creek to provide community creek trails, but it's just this opportunity of, yes, you're walking on sidewalks, but we have so many bridges and so many opportunities to see and walk near the creek and engage.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Energy and climate programs are up next.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sam Further, Mobility Coordinator with the Energy and Climate Division. And we'll cover some quick highlights on programs that the ENC division offers to help promote more sustainable behaviors in Santa Barbara. Next slide, please. So we launched a bicycle share pilot program in January of 2021, and we're really excited to announce that we just hit a major milestone, which is over 2 million miles ridden on B-cycle bikes in the city of Santa Barbara since launch. What's significant here is that if you assume that even half of these miles ridden are replacing a vehicle trip, we're talking about some significant VMT reduction. We're also excited to announce that the city was recently awarded 1.5 million from the Clean Mobility's Options Grant to help provide additional low-income bike share infrastructure, so bikes and docks, as well as programming and incentives to get those low-income riders using bike share. We were one of 17 recipients in the state of California, so this is a big accolade for us, and it'll really help provide additional access to this transportation option. Again, B-cycle is not a solution for everyone, but it's meant to provide an option that can help facilitate more sustainable transportation modes in the city. And really, we're excited about the CMO funding because it helps enable the city to expand the existing network and to really target an underserved population and ultimately increase access to safe, reliable, and convenient active transportation. Next slide. The Energy and Climate Division also supports our Safe Routes to School program. This program was actually started in the city of Santa Barbara in the late 90s, and it was meant to encourage active transportation use for residents getting to school. Really targeting the youth populations. And breaking down some of the barriers to biking and walking to school through education and incentivization. Since 2005, we've contracted with MOVE, formerly SB Bike Coalition, to provide our Safe Routes to School programming in area schools. The city partners with MOVE. We also partner with other South County jurisdictions to help provide funding for MOVE to do this throughout South County. We have 17 schools in the city of Santa Barbara that participate in some type of MOVE programming. And typically we see close to 1,000 students that are engaged with through the course of a calendar year. What this looks like is MOVE does in-class, in-person bike and pedestrian demonstrations. They teach kids how to ride bikes. They organize and facilitate and lead bike and walk to school buses on regular routes to get kids motivated and get that kind of group pack mentality to get them to school safely. We found this program to be really effective to help build this sustainable mentality and this, again, active transportation option for our youth to get to school. We found that building this in at a young age can be really effective later in life, just to support this. And again, remove barriers to active transportation for these students. This program continues to evolve. Recently, we've been working with MOVE to help develop an e-bike safety curriculum. And we're actually starting to target more high school and junior high age students, which typically had not been a population we felt we needed to serve as much, but now we're seeing a lot more community demand for this. So continuing to change and evolve the program. With that, I will pass it over to Christian to discuss. Did you have a question?
No, I just wanna, my daughter's homesick with my neighbor and my neighbor has to go home. So I have to, but I did, before I do that, I just, every time we, honestly, any of these meetings is so impressive, but this in particular is, it's remarkable what you all do, and we're so lucky. So, thank you, sorry, hopefully.
Hope she feels better.
I know, well, better having her there than here.
Yes.
So, Thank you. guys.
Thank you.
All yours, Christian.
Hello, Christian Hoffland, Building and Vehicle Decarbonization Program Coordinator in the Energy and Climate Division. Talk to you a little bit about some of the electric vehicle support, particularly our charging network. As we talked about many times before, in this committee, the transportation sector, primarily passenger vehicles, is the biggest source of emissions. So it's a really big push to try to support decarbonization of that sector. So as the market's really evolved and electric vehicles have become readily available and affordable, and there's lots of incentive programs out there to help support. We see as one of the biggest barriers is access to charging to help support our workforce, our visitors, and our residents. Particularly important with our residents, there are 2/3 of them are renters, which is particularly challenging to get charging in at their place of residence. So although we are working on programs for that, the thing we can do right away is provide public access to those people. So we've been looking to expand our charging network. So we started over 10 years ago, and now have 70 public chargers in 7 different locations. Are looking to expand that rapidly to help support the rapid expansion of electric vehicle usage. So the past few years, we have aggressively gone after grants to help support this. It is very expensive. And we've also gone after public-private partnerships to have electric vehicle supply vendors partner with us to help support those stations, bring private equity and construction administration to those projects to help the city achieve those goals. So really happy to announce we've already been awarded over $3 million in the past 3 years for over 150 new EV chargers. And we have pending grants for $4.8 million for over 200 additional chargers beyond that. So some of those locations include, we have fast chargers, 18 new fast chargers going in at the Harbor main lot, Amtrak, and Eastside Library. We're in the final stages of coordinating with Southern California Edison to get those final designs put in and then get construction hopefully later this summer. I will say the Amtrak station that is directly adjacent to where the first creek trail is. So we're gonna have a sign up at the gas stations as well, say, hey, just jump over a block away and do the creek trail for 15, 20 minutes while you're charging. So really excited to coordinate that. We also have projects that we're coordinating with different city divisions at Parks and Rec at Dwight King Murphy Field, at the airports, new long-term lot to put EV chargers at those locations. A really exciting project partnering with the Housing Authority and the Santa Barbara Unified School District to put 130 chargers in to help support nearby multifamily residents in low-income neighborhoods. And we're also bringing some chargers at the Brio Pavilion for that area. So, we'll take any questions.
No, the comments that, I mean, we've talked about this so much, this low income multifamily resident issue, and to see that 130 chargers in those locations you named, way to go. It's really, really impressive. And the grants, thank you.
You know, I did have a question. So on the slide, it says low income multifamily resident project, 130 chargers. Is that in the future? Is that something that we want to do, or is that something that we're planning? Because that last time we met, we said that we didn't have that ready for multifamily.
That's the incentive program for SBC.
Okay.
This is an actual grant that we're working with the school district
Got
on.
I knew there was a piece that my brain wasn't functioning.
Then we partnered with UCSB as a tri-county application that we wanted the state. And so we'll be putting in, chargers at the schools to support their staff during the day, but then local nearby multifamily residents in the evenings, as well at 9 housing authority locations.
And then is any of this federally funded, these grants, or is it all secure because it's state and local?
Very good question. We do have a mix of local APCD and SBCAG grants, state grants, and we do have a little bit of money coming from the federal government, which is still there as of right now. It's about $146,000. And we're looking to, that's for more of a municipal project, but looking to spend that as quickly as we can before it disappears.
But if it does, it's not as significant where it would just end the program. Okay. Perfect. Thanks for all the work. Residential.
Morning, everyone. I'm Stephanie Holmes, Energy and Climate Specialist, and we did speak last month, so if some of this is a review, that's because it is. And I'll be giving a brief overview of Santa Barbara Clean Energy's residential EV program. Basically, our program offers rebates to customers for choosing to drive electric. Rebates are available for new and used EVs at level 2 chargers and make-ready electrical work. Here are some of the highlights that we have here. Next slide, please. We also in January launched our Home Electrification Accelerator Program, affectionately known as HEAP. And HEAP incentivizes SBCE customers to make the switch to electric appliances by providing rebates, fast and free permitting, and live assistance. HEAP's rebate offerings include those for heat pump water heaters and associated electrical work to get homes ready to be able to support that. Next slide, please. And then there's also our tree program that is in collaboration with our Creeks Division and Urban Forestry. This program will be in support of the carbon sequestration goals of the Climate Action Plan, and will give out drought-tolerant trees directly to community members to plant on their private property. And yes, that's it for me, actually, since you guys are emails. But yeah, I can take questions.
I got a question on e-bike. I know we're focusing on residential charging, but are there rebates for e-bike purchases?
That would be a question for Sam.
The short answer is not currently. We do have an e-bike purchase incentive program for city staff. We've discussed the potential of using that to pilot the effectiveness of the income tiered approach and look at potentially scaling community wide, but we haven't gained traction on that yet.
Thank you. Any
And
questions?
just before if you have questions, but before we wrap up, because this is the last section, I just wanted to say, oh, there's one more.
Yeah.
Liz, go,
Thank
Liz.
Thank you.
I'm Liz Smith. I'm the Community Engagement Supervisor for our department. Next slide. And just really, we support and promote all of these wonderful programs that you've been hearing about. We work with Explore Ecology to provide youth education related to solid waste and recycling and water pollution prevention, learning about our creeks and oceans. Explore Ecology also offers field trips, free programs for all the schools within the city. And then our staff are also available for additional presentations on request. So if the school wants to take a field trip to one of our restoration sites or wants something more specific or customized, in addition to the Explore Ecology programming, we have many experts in the room that are willing to educate our community. Same for businesses as well. Always happy to work with any organization to provide that information. And then we organize the city's booth at the upcoming Earth Day Festival, which is in just a couple of weeks. So working with many departments citywide to put that booth together. And our team also coordinates the Sustainable Holidays Open House. We just had our second one this past December. It was really a wonderful event. I hope you guys all came, and if you didn't come this year, it'll be the first Thursday in December. And then we just really support anything that the rest of our team needs, collaborate with other city departments on events and cross promotion. We send out a bi-monthly email newsletter to 40,000 subscribers. We manage our department's social media pages, next door. Any way we can get the word out. We're working on getting the word out, so.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, now,
All right, now.
to wrap up, thank you, Liz. To wrap up the presentation, I just wanted to say, I do a lot of work across the state with other jurisdictions. And I mean, we should all be very proud of what we just looked at today, because it is very, very on the bleeding edge of what's being done, even nationally. So I just wanted to say that. I also continue to be inspired by this group of people. We're doing incredible things. Two things I wanted to say that we are in our department actively working on is one, breaking down silos across departments and working together better, maximizing our resources. You know, this is a new department, so we're sort of finding our footing about where we fit in with other organizational strategies, and I think it's going very well so far. And also, given all of the rebates, particularly some of the new programs, we're working on a one-stop shop for rebate programming. Where a homeowner who doesn't know which department a rebate lives in might just go and be able to see what fits their project. So those things are coming. And we are looking to reinvigorate the green team, which used to exist at the city, which was a staff-led team across the organization. It has been defunct for a few years now, but trying to find a new sort of charter for that team and reinvigorate it. So.
Great, thank you. Before we do wrap up comments, I'm going to open up to public comment. Any members of the public? Are there any members of the public here? All right. So I'll close public comment and Member Sneddon.
Oh, thank you. I mean, this demonstrates the dream that was the beginning of the Sustainability and Resilience Department, that it be sort of like the central hub and the spokes going into all these different departments and breaking down those silos, but also just having it be sort of central, I don't know, to the vision of the whole city and different departments. And I love that this, I mean, this is even the tip of the iceberg, really. I mean, in each one of these individual departments, there's so many more projects happening internally and externally. And this is just like a little snapshot of different things we maybe haven't fully covered in here. So it's just like, to all of you, like, you make us look so good and you make us so proud of our city. And it's just really exciting. And I'm really glad you mentioned the one-stop shop for rebates, because I'm always saying people like, oh, there's so many things and you have to go see it. And it's like, well, where do you look? And well, I would love that one place, and maybe through that SB Connect.
Yeah.
And I don't know, this is just one example of the many presentations we've had in here of all the different ways that this is benefiting the city. And even when people aren't even aware of all the ways, I wanted to particularly note this about the charging and the focus on lower income residents who really want to make this change and are not so able to, because they don't have control over their own electricity and how it's accessed. And so having that in neighborhoods, and with the B-cycle program too, that's been a big one, to have that for lower income residents, and and really having our whole community make this change together. And the cups, I'm sorry, I just love the cups. And that's another thing. So it is, every time we have these meetings, it's like, what new thing and are we gonna see? And also just what successes are happening for things that have already started. So just thank you, all of you.
I don't have much more to add. You said it all. I 100% agree. And the cups is great. And there's also a lot of some of the coffee shops are doing if you bring your own cup. So I bring my library cup that has that I got at one of the events on the Library Plaza kickoff. And so you get a discount when you bring your own cups. So that's another.
We're doubling that discount at Dune Coffee for this pilot.
See?
See, there we go. So no matter what, if you bring your own cup, your cup of coffee gets cheaper. So the SB Connect, I think there's a lot of opportunity for the public to engage with, whether it's the trails, whether it's the rebates, because a lot of this gets really hard to find. One of the things that was said today was there's somebody who's already gone through and got their whole barrel and everything and is already searching for the rebate. Like, how the heck did that person even know? And how they already through the process when most people don't even know it exists. So just the ability to have a place that we're trying to get more people to SB Connect, to have things that the public engage on their own would be a driver for a lot of things. So I think, and it would get usership of that up. The other thing, I'll put it out there, but check with our city administrator. This would be a great presentation to have at council or something similar to it, where we can, on one of those, lighter agenda days, just have it come up and just promote it, just promote all that we're doing, because our city, the public takes pride that we're one of the pioneers for environmental policy going back to the first Earth Day. And for whatever reason, there's this thing out there now that Santa Barbara's fallen behind, and you just said we're ahead. But if you hear some of the conversations that are out there, a lot of people, Santa Barbara's not the leader it used to be anymore, and that's not the case. And a lot of it is in the last few years with sustainability department, community choice energy, being able to fund a lot of these. So to be able to put that out there and counter that, and also show that the different departments are communicating with each other would be great. And so
I think that'd be a good idea.
yeah, so I like this at council. I mean, this, and I'd also like the staff members that presented today to be able to present. I know you might not want to, but I think it'd be a good opportunity for you to present at a council meeting. To get that experience for yourselves, just because it's gonna be more formal than here, but I think it's a good opportunity for all of staff to present it today. If you want to, I wouldn't force anybody to, but, and we'll go easy.
No.
I told her to say that, so she could get that. But yeah, but I think it'd be a great opportunity for us.
We have an amazing.
Yeah,
team, right?
to be able to
You don't necessarily
present.
get to see all of
Yeah.
it.
So if we could get that on some type of an agenda, yeah, and the closer that we could do it to like, yeah, would be great.
It's 9:13, so I'll get back.
Yeah, so that might even be the one, because I think it's a lighter agenda.
It is.
So maybe that's the time to do it. Okay, that's all I got.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you all. And then we just have a couple quick more things, inputs. I'm good. Do you have anything?
No, I couldn't even come up with anything more brilliant than this. So it's like, thank you. You make it so easy.
All right, perfect. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for taking time out and informing us and all the great work every one of you are doing. I was thinking about that.